Okay, so the hat's lit up, which means the Eagles won. They win this game 43-24 against the Tennessee Titans. Sorry, there wasn't any pregame um, uh, talk for the video. I was pretty busy the past few days. Never really got a chance to film as I usually do, before a game. But anyhow, the Eagles get the win. They go to 8-3 on the season. They bounce back after a tough loss at Green Bay last week in Lambeau Field, and they win again at home. They're a perfect. They have a perfect record so far at home. I believe I saw a stat where they've now won 10 regular season games in a row at home. Of course, they lost at home in the playoffs last year to the Saints, but regular season-wise, they've now won 10 straight, and that's their first win, believe it or not, versus the Tennessee Titans franchise. The Eagles have beaten the Houston Oilers back in the day, but since the Oilers moved to Tennessee and since became the Titans, the Eagles had yet to beat them until today. Well, it's tonight now, but today, 43-24, blowout win. The Eagles got right out of the chute. I mean, Tennessee won the toss but deferred. Probably wasn't a good idea because Josh Huff returned it for a touchdown, and the Eagles would later score another touchdown and a field goal. They were at one point were up 17-0. And then the Titans started getting back in the game, and then Eagles defense got some turnovers. And Sanchez threw two picks in the game. One was a pretty bad one, but then the very next play, the Eagles got a fumble or a recover. That was in the second half. But anyhow, Eagles defense do a pretty good job. They gave up some points to the Titans. They gave up a few plays, but for the most part, they played well. They got some pressure on the quarterback and caused some turnovers. Certainly played better than they did against the Packers, but then again, the Packers do have that guy named Aaron Rodgers, and he's pretty good. So anyhow, the Eagles go to 8-3, and up next is a trip to Big D on Thanksgiving. Of course, the big game, the biggest game of the year right now. The Eagles are going to play Dallas, those turkeys on Thanksgiving in Dallas at the Jerry Dome, and Dallas tonight plays at the Giants. So hopefully the Giants can get a win or if anything else, play competitive. Have a good game against Dallas. So Dallas doesn't look that great going into the Thanksgiving game. Hopefully Dallas doesn't blow them out or something. But as it is, the Eagles have a huge game coming up. About this Tennessee game, not much to say in a 43-24 win. I mean, obviously there were some things the Eagles could have done better. I mean, 2 interceptions by Sanchez. The second one just a horrible throw. He's looked good at times. He's looked okay at times. The thing about this game is that the Eagles really got back to their running game, and LaShawn McCoy over 100 yards, a touchdown, so he had a nice game. Sproles had some nice runs. They didn't really utilize Polk too much until the end there, but the Eagles were able to move the ball almost at will on Tennessee, and the Sanchez, the Matthews connection continues. Matthews had another nice game. Did drop what would have been a touchdown pass, but he was kind of hit, right as, it was kind of a tough, it would have been a really tough catch to make for any receiver, and he was hit pretty good in the arm there as he was about to catch the ball, so dropped that one in the end zone early in the first half. But has still had a really good rapport with Mark Sanchez, and the two have connected on quite a few passes since Sanchez took over for Foles being hurt. And Matthews has really flourished in the last few weeks. Like I said, overall, it was a pretty good game for the offense. They turned the ball over. Now, you don't want to do that next game now. You don't want to play the turnover game with Dallas. And the one thing is, as much as I can't stand them, I will say that Dallas's offense is pretty potent. And a couple weeks ago, or last week, the Eagles certainly struggled on the road against the Packers. and you know, they still have a few things that, hopefully they can shore up going into that game. We'll get more into that game next week. It's a short week. Obviously, I mean, today's Sunday and the game's on Thursday. So I'll try to do some pregame stuff and my little rant against the local Dallas fans. They're just bandwagoners. But anyhow, I'll get more into that maybe Wednesday, and then I'll do maybe some in-game video, and then the post-game. And, of course, the next day is Black Friday, one of my big days of the year, with the sale at Mitchell & Ness and all. But anyhow, it should be a very, very, very interesting next few games, next few weeks, and next few games. The next 3 games for the Eagles is at Dallas on Thanksgiving, of course, home against the defending champion Seahawks, and then home against Dallas. So they play Dallas 2 out of the next 3 weeks, and these 2 teams are fighting for a division title. And so it's really going to come down to these 2 games. Because after that, the Eagles play, and not that there's any gimmies, but the Eagles play at Washington and at the Giants to finish off the season. And both those teams really don't have anything to play for. Now that could still make them dangerous. They could be trying to kick the Eagles out of the playoffs, and we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But this is a huge 3-game set for the Eagles. This will define their season, these next 3 games. We all kind of figure going into this week it's going to be a walkover win against Tennessee. Tennessee comes in a 2-8 team, now 2-9. Had a heartbreaking loss last week at home on Monday night against the Steelers. And, though they did some good things in this game, they really aren't at the level where the Eagles are right now. That's not to say that they couldn't have won, because we know in football it's any given Sunday, right? We saw the Rams beat the Broncos last week at home. So, anything can happen. But going into this game, I think, the overall consensus is that the Eagles are going to win pretty handily. And they did, 43-24, again, the final. I was watching a little of the NFL pregame on NFL Network, and they always do a really good job. That's one of the networks I like watching most on game day, Sundays. But the whole panel, they had the question, who's going to win the division, Eagles or Dallas? And the whole panel picked Dallas. And they picked Dallas because of the quarterback and because of the injury situations. And the only thing I'll say about that is, they picked Dallas because of the quarterback. Am I mistaken here? I think the 2 out of the last 3 years, it came down to the last game of the season, and Dallas at the Giants and at the Redskins with that quarterback, Romo, lost the game. And obviously last year it was Kyle Orton, and the Eagles won that game in Dallas to win the division. But I'm not saying that Mark Sanchez is like a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or anything, and I can certainly understand why they would all pick Dallas. But at the same point, we've kind of seen this before, haven't we? I mean, this great quarterback that they have has kind of come up small in the big games in the past, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that Sanchez is on this kind of level, but going forward as the season progresses, Eagles, Dallas, it's going to be played out. It's going to be played out, I believe, big time in those 2 games. They play each other 2 out of the next 3 weeks. They could split. I mean, the home team can win both games, or the road team can win both games. Who knows? But, I think that's going to be where it plays out. What Dallas does tonight, obviously, in New York, or in Meadowlands, and then what happens on Thanksgiving and what happens the next few weeks after that. I really think that this division is going to be shapened within the next few weeks, with the Eagles playing Dallas twice out of the next 3 games. So I respectively disagree with the panel and NFL Network, which are all chumped up on Dallas now. I guess with the Eagles losing the way they did to Green Bay, and this is before this game, they're all like, all Dallased up, and and we'll see. We'll see how this thing plays out. Obviously, if the Eagles play the way they did last week, which I don't expect them to play like that the rest of the season, but if they play like they did last week, they're not going to beat anybody. They're not going to beat Dallas. They're not going to beat Seattle. They'll probably even lose to the Redskins or the Giants. But if they can play at a level that they've played at for most of the season, they have a chance to beat anybody. They have a chance to beat Dallas. They have a chance to beat Seattle, which, by the way, that game's here, not in Seattle. And they have a chance. They have a puncher's chance, as the saying goes. And again, I'm going to leave most of my talk about that big game on Thanksgiving for the next video. But I will say that it's one of the things I kind of noticed today. Watching NFL Network, and I'm kind of sitting there going. I can kind of understand what their reasoning is, but not one of them can pick the Eagles to win the division. I mean, I'm just saying, NFL Network. I'm just saying. We'll see. We'll see when the dust settles. So anyhow, Eagles big win today, 43-24, the final. Eagles are 8-3, again bouncing back off a tough loss a week ago, their worst loss of the season. And then you see the Packers today just getting by the Vikings, So it's like, hey, any given Sunday, right? Or Thursday or Monday. So this all gearing up to the big one, right? The big Thanksgiving Day game in Dallas. Eagles and Cowboys. The last time the Eagles played Dallas on Thanksgiving, Eagles won. I'm just saying. Eagles won. With Reggie White and company back in the day. But anyhow, should be a lot of a great week, great hype leading up to the game. All those bandwagon local Dallas fans going to be calling up WIP and other local sports talk radios, radio channels, But they're going to be talking up. Eagles fans, of course, like myself, we're going to be talking it up too. We've been looking forward to this game for weeks, and it is almost here. So again, the Eagles win against Tennessee. They're 8-3, moving on to Thanksgiving. Big game, nationwide game there. Everyone's going to be watching while they're eating their Thanksgiving goodies. And I will see you on Thanksgiving week. Well, it's this week, but for the next episode of Season of the Fan, we're moving on to Thanksgiving and the Eagles and Dallas, the big game in Big D. And let's take care of those turkeys. All right, everyone. Until the next video. Eagles win. Eagles win. Go Birds! They're 8-3, and I'll see you, well, after Thanksgiving. But the next video will be filmed around Thanksgiving. Take care. Go Birds.